Today's video is going to be looking and exploring the timeline of thriller films. I have compiled a range of films fitting into the thriller genre. When looking back at the history of thriller films, we can see some changes within the conventions included in the thriller genre. We start way back at the beginning of the thriller genre with the 1923 film Safety Last. The film is about a country boy named Harold. He says goodbye to his mother and girlfriend, who is called Mildred, at the train station, and leaves expecting to be successful in the big city. Harold promises his girlfriend that he will marry her as soon as he makes enough money to buy a ring. Harold shares a room with his friend and he finally gets a job as a salesman. Harold shares a room with his friend and he finally gets a job as a salesman at the DeVore department store. During the film, he steals his friend's phonograph, which records and reproduces sounds. It's a lot like a record player. He uses money from pawning his friend's phonograph to buy a laviera, which is a type of piece of jewellery. It's a lot like a pendant. He also, at this point, tells Mildred, his girlfriend, that he is the manager of DeVore department store. As the film is quite old, precisely 92 years old, the conventions of thriller film has changed so much up to 2015 due to the fact that the genre itself has expanded a lot like other genres, and it was hard to sort of classify this original film as a thriller due to the conventions not really being explored. The next film we are going to look at is the popular film Psycho, directed by Alfred Hitchcock. The 1960s film is very unique and very popular because the intense music used, particularly in the shower scene, which is very helps connote the suspense and horror within the film. Also, the shower scene contains 77 different camera shots and a total of 50 cuts between each shot. This aspect helps show all different sides of the murder scene, allowing you to see who is murdering the woman. Although at the same time we can see that the murderer is not actually stabbing the woman in the shower. Obviously, CGI and makeup at the time was, so now we see more common thriller films have the CGI because of the big budget conglomerate companies funding them, and they can expand on CGI and makeup. Moving on 30 years, we arrive at the film Goodfellas, which is directed by Martin Scorsese, personally one of my favourite directors. The film is set around a young boy growing up and eventually joining the mafia. It also explores the wives of the mobsters, showing the fact that they are not allowed to voice their opinion due to the hierarchy between males. In a way, the mobster wives are a product of the mafia. Personally, one of my favourite shots in the film is a continuous tracking shot. Now, this particular shot follows Karen and Henry on their first date. They arrive at a very posh restaurant, entering the back door, going through the kitchen. Now, this shot is very hard to recreate. Obviously, there would have been multiple takes to get it perfect. Moving through the kitchen with a Steadicam is very hard. If you don't know what a Steadicam is, it's usually a weighted gyroscope type tripod that allows to counterbalance different weights, so it reduces foot movements so it won't jog the camera. They get their own table at the front of the stage, which obviously shows that the people of the restaurant have a lot of respect for the mafia and want to keep them very close for protection.